So in this video, gonna be answering the question of how should you organize your information. You have information, now what? How do you organize it? The objective of this video is to help business owners understand data architecture and to choose the right option, right? And so and it all starts with a problem. So assuming you watched the video before this one, you created your information inventory, you know exactly where all your information lives. So, but now you face a new problem. How do I actually organize this information so my AI can use it well? So, your information is scattered across 15 plus different places. Some is real time, some is historical, some you're renting. Your AI can't just say, "Hey Salesforce, Snowflake, and Weather API, send me all the information I need at once." You need an organized system, an architecture. Think about it like moving into a new house. You have all your belongings in boxes. You know what you have, but where do you wait but where do you put it? You know, do you keep everything in your bedroom? It's there, but not organized. Have one big storage room, organized, but not functional. Do you have different rooms for different things? Kitchen, bedroom, your living room. That's more optimized. And so it's like your data is the same. You have it, now you need to organize it functionally. Here's the question though, what does that architecture look like? So, so yeah, man, there are multiple layers in architecture. Actually, there are three layers in architecture. Layer one is the real time store. This is where your AI goes when it needs to know right now what this customer's current status, how much inventory do we have right now, what's happening with this active order right now. This layer is optimized for fast queries, current information and small data sets. Examples: Redis, Cache, DynamoDB, a real-time database, right? Think of this like a chef's mice in place, right? The culinary term, which is the culinary term for everything in its place. Before service begins, the chef has all ingredients prepped and at hand: chopped vegetables in bowls, proteins at temperature, spices measured, everything ready to grab instantly. When an order comes in, they don't run to the storage room, they grab from the prep station, which is like instant access. Your AI needs the same thing. The current customer status should be ready, your live inventory should be ready, the today's price should be ready, everything for instant decisions should be ready. And so why does this matter, right? Your AI can't wait 5 minutes for data, it needs answers right now. All right, like I said here, shows. And then there's layer two, which is the warehouse, right? This is where your AI goes when it needs to understand patterns, right? This would be like your OLAP. Oh, by the way, previously this would be like this is your OLTP basically. What do customers, now going back here, what do customers like to buy? You know, like what do customers like this usually buy? What are the seasonal trends? what what were customers preferences last month? How has demand evolved over time, right? This layer is optimized for historical analysis, pattern recognition, learning, complex queries. For example, Snowflake, Redshift, BigQuery, and Hive, right? Think of this like a library's archives section, right? The library has a front desk, today's popular books, which is the real time, and there's the archives, the historical records, rare books, complete collection, which would be the warehouse. When you need to research historical trends, you go to archives. It's more information, takes longer to retrieve, but incredibly valuable for learning. Your AI's warehouse is the same, all historical data, all customer patterns, all seasonal trends, everything for learning, and it's not as fast as real time, but it's infinitely more valuable for recognizing patterns. And so, why it matters? Your AI needs to learn from history, right? Without this, it's just responding to today, not understanding patterns. Then there's layer three, which is the knowledge base, right? This is where your AI goes to understand context and meaning. What are our company policies? What's the context of this product? What are our guidelines on this issue? What do these industry terms mean in our business? This layer contains company policies and guidelines, product descriptions and specifications, right? Frequently asked questions, business rules and decision logic, context that a human would know. And so, for example, the environments that you'd find these would be, for example, like vector databases, Pinecone, and document stores, and policy databases, essentially. And so, another way of thinking of this is like a lawyer's case law library. A lawyer doesn't just know facts, they know legal precedents, case decisions, how courts usually rule on this type of issue. This contextual knowledge guides their strategy. And so your AI's knowledge base is the same, company policies, business rules, context and meaning, how your business usually operates, is all crucial. So essentially, what this does is it gives your AI judgment, not just data. And so, why does this matter? Here is specified, together they make smart decisions, hence why you need all three. Now, why does this matter? Your AI needs to understand your business rules, not just process data. Otherwise, it makes technically correct decisions that are business wrong. And so, how they work together, you know, and this I'm gonna use give an example of how they work together. Their complete system analogy. Think of these layers. Think of these three layers like a complete medical system. Layer one, your current vital signs, heart rate right now, your blood pressure right now, your temperature right now. Your layer two, which is your medical history, you had pneumonia in 2015, you're allergic to penicillin, your cholesterol runs high. Layer three, your medical knowledge and guidelines, fever plus cough plus history, probably flu. This medication plus your allergy is probably not you should probably not use it for this condition. Follow protocol X. And so an excellent doctor uses all three: current vitals, your history, medical knowledge, you know, and together it creates a correct diagnosis. One missing piece results in it being a wrong diagnosis. And so your AI needs the same: real time plus history plus context equals smart decisions. And so leads us to part four, right, which is the three options. Well, in terms of your life cycle stage and how taking consideration your life cycle stage, so you're just starting, this is like opening your first restaurant. Firstly, here, which architecture is right for your business? Starting at option one, you so yeah, which architecture is right for your business? So business stage, architecture alignment. Option one, you're just starting. This is the MVP stage, right? this is like opening your first restaurant. You don't need a massive kitchen. You need a stove, a prep counter, basic supplies, quick turnaround, right? You focus on, does anyone want our food? Can we make it, and can we serve it fast? Similarly, this is similar with your startup architecture. Your real-time layer is just enough. Historical layer isn't really present since there's no history. You don't have a record. Knowledge layer, not yet. Business is still simple. And so when to graduate, right? When you graduate, essentially when you have paying customers and want to reduce churn. And then you have option two, which is your growth stage, right? Where you have traction. This is like your restaurant. This is like your restaurant getting popular. Now you need a bigger kitchen, recipe book. You're learning what works, inventory management, repeat customers who have preferences. You need to remember this customer always orders X. We need this ingredient every day. Similarly with growth architecture, your real-time layer is optimized for current orders. Your historical layer is learning from patterns and seeing what sells and what's popular. Your knowledge layer probably isn't there yet. The business rules are still relatively simple. And so when do you graduate? You graduate when you're at a massive scale with complex business rules. And this takes us to option three, which is the enterprise scale. So, this is like Michelin star restaurant operations, right? You need industrial kitchen, recipe innovation lab, supply chain optimization, chef's intuition, which is like deep business knowledge, right? And every decision is informed by the current states, what customers order tonight, historical patterns, 30 years of data, professional knowledge, how to cook, how to manage, how to innovate, right? And then there's some, and so the same is similar with enterprise architecture, where the real time layer is millisecond responses, historical layer is based on years and decades of data. Your knowledge layer is, complex business logic and rules. And so essentially, when do you graduate? Only when you're at that massive scale. And so essentially, which option is right for your company right now? Right? Choosing between options is like, of the food court stage, right? Where essentially you ask the questions of, do we have the product? Is the question, let's test fast? And there's the second option, the growing restaurants. Are we scaling right? Is the question, and we need systems but not too complex. And then there's option three, which is, like I said, the enterprise level here, which would be like your Michelin star. How do we stay excellent at massive scale? Is the question. We can afford complexity. And so your company is at one of these stages. Know which one. Don't build Michelin infrastructure for a food cart. Don't use a food cart kitchen for Michelin service. I have a good one. Bye.